Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Gridiron 2022. Dr. Ron Poniewasz, football MD, joined by Professor Larry Kelly, a member of the Luxembourg, Garbutt, Kelly and George law firm, the Shenango High School varsity baseball coach. Larry, it's good to see you. Welcome back again.
We should be introduced as the award-winning Gridiron. I mean, the last time I checked, we were award winners in a statewide competition. I'm not so sure that has anything to do with me, more to do with you and the director of the Groove Ship, Pete Sirian. So it's nice to be here.
We are a tag team in this endeavor. You'll know which one's the modest one and which one is the confident one. The confident one proclaims that we are the award-winning, but it's not wrong. You're not wrong.
The facts are the facts, Ronnie. It's like in trial, Your Honor. The facts are the facts, and the fact is we are an award-winning podcast, Gridiron. Yes or no, Mr. Poniewasz?
You are correct.
Thank you, sir. No further questions, Your Honor.
Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts.
Just the fact, like Dragnet.
That's right.
For those who may remember that show of about 50 years ago.
Or even the movie from the 80s, too. That's all classic. All right. Well, we are here this week, everyone, to bring you three topics. Our athlete of the week, quite a performance, you know, and they played a ranked team. So he certainly stepped up to the front and came up big. Is our athlete of the week. Then we will turn Larry Kelly loose, which I don't know. Are we doing the right thing, turning him loose in the Red Hurricane Report? And then our final topic will be a whip around the county, where we'll just rapid fire tell you a little bit of something on each of the teams. But first, our athlete of the week, and that is going to be Braylon Thomas, a 6'2", 180-pound junior quarterback, defensive back for Union High School. Last week, he had 18 carries, 203 yards, and 2 touchdowns rushing, 55 yards and 85 yards. Passing, he was 3 of 7 for 68 yards. He threw 2 interceptions. However, he did throw 2 two-point conversions in a 30-21 road win over Cornell. And Larry, real quick, that 85-yard touchdown run, that put a capper on the game. That closed the scoring for Union. Cornell had one final touchdown to make it a little bit of a cosmetic final score, but that 85-yarder was a punctuation point, maybe 2 or 3 of them actually.
The facts, Mr. Poniewasz, just the facts, and the facts clearly point out why Braylon Thomas was the athlete of the week. 203 yards on 18 carries. That's, you know, according to my math, a little better than 10 yards a carry. Another 68 yards through the air, 2 TDs, just an all-around performance, and an 85-yarder to ice it. Athlete of the week material, you know, those are the type of statistics that are pretty impressive in a high school game, and especially impressive when they're playing a quality opponent, as the Scotties were on Friday night.
Yeah, absolutely. Union now goes to 2-1 on the season. They will visit Shenango, which is 0-3 on the year. That'll be a Big 7 conference opener for both teams. That game is Saturday night at 7 p.m., kids. So just so you know, it's not Friday like our tab had. Apparently that game was moved, and it was not moved on the schedule that we received from Shenango High School. Apparently it must have been moved after the schedule was sent out. Had something to do with homecoming, I think. Friday is homecoming for Shenango. The festivities anyways for Shenango, and then the game is Saturday night. Kind of an odd reversal there. Usually it's the game and then the homecoming, but just so everybody knows, the game is Saturday, and that's 7 p.m. Union won last year's game 16-6, so I think Shenango might have this one circled a little extra heavier with 10.
Well, they need to turn it around. I mean, they've had a tough start. But they're a young team, and they're getting better. I look for a really, really good game on Saturday night, and I plan on being there. A few of my baseball players are escorting some of the homecoming court. So I had to tell a few of my guys that the rule is when you're escorting one of the lovely young ladies that you can't wear more jewelry than they're wearing. So I had to point that out to the boys tonight. We had a a fall league game at Shenango. So should be a fun night. Should be a great game and a fun night for all involved.
Did you tell them that while you still had your earring in?
No, my earring has not been in over a year and a half now. Everybody knows the story. I told them if we won the Whitfield Championship, not this year, but last year, that I would get an earring. I did. It was in for a week, and then it was removed because yours truly still has a day job. And I had a hearing in front of a judge in Franklin, Pennsylvania, and I'm not so sure those guys up there can take a joke. So I took it out before the hearing.
Sure. So Braylon Thomas, let's touch on Braylon Thomas again. He showed what he could do last year. You know, Tyler Staub was their quarterback last year, most of the year, but Braylon Thomas, you know, certainly broke on the scene last year, displayed a little bit of what he could do last year while Stacy Robinson was still the coach. And I'm sure Kim Needball, either through watching film of those games or whatnot, or maybe even during preseason drills, I'm sure he knew what he had with Braylon Thomas. What a special athlete, a special talent that kid is Braylon Thomas.
Well, I think that's the operative word. You know, Union has always had a very good athlete, if not the best athlete on their team at the quarterback position. And Braylon Thomas is no exception to that rule. He's a tremendous athlete, and he's a big kid. You know, I think you said 6'2", 180. And when he gets in the open field, he has outstanding speed and the power to back it up. Nobody's going to arm tackle that young man when he has some room to run.
Yeah, and that they've only lost one game, and that was to Canton. That was the season opener. As we all know, Canton came in the three-time state semifinalist. So they hung with Canton. I think we kind of learned at that point, okay, Union, let's see what they can do. And they backed it up, won 2 games. They beat Elwood and they beat Cornell. So I think they're for real. This is going to be a big test for them against Shenango and conference play. It's here, Larry.
Should be a great game, old Tri-County League game. You know, when those Tri-County teams play each other, you know, it's a shame that the old Tri-County League is no longer a conference in and of itself, because those traditional Tri-County teams, Shenango, Union, Laurel, Neshannock, Wilmington, when they were in the Tri-County, it's great football. And the communities come out and support their teams. It's not a long travel or bus ride for the teams. It's a shame that Tri-County League is no longer a conference in and of itself.
Okay, Braylon Thomas is our athlete of the week. Again, 18 carries, 203 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, runs of 55 and 85 yards, 68 yards through the 2 2-point conversions. So congratulations to Braylon Thomas. Congratulations to the Scotties on a 30-21 road win over state-ranked Cornell.
There's one thing I learned growing up around here. People should look out for each other. Be friends and neighbors that you can count on. So it bothers me when people who are hurt in automobile accidents get bullied by the insurance company. I don't let bullies run over my clients. I do what I was taught growing up. Step up, stand up, and speak up for those who can't. I'm Larry Kelly, and I'm a Newcastle guy.
We're back with you here on Gridiron one final time. Ron Poniewasz and Larry Kelly. This is our whip around the county. And Larry, first off, Elwood City snapped a 27-game losing streak last week. And last time they won was, I believe it was 2018 against Brentwood, 34-28 in triple overtime. Are you channeling your inner Lou Brown from the movie Major League? You won last time. You win another one. That's 2 in a row. That's called a winning streak. It has been done. Are you channeling your inner Lou Brown, and how happy?
Let me tell you what Elwood City did well. And I went through the statistics of every winning team. They did what just about every winning team did last week. They rushed the ball for over 200 yards. They rushed the ball for 253 yards. Look, I don't profess to be a football coach. Never coached it. My playing days ended in junior high. But I know one thing. Winning high school football teams run the ball. And if you run it for 200 yards, you're going to win more times than not. Elwood rushed it for 253 last week. That's why they won. If they can do that again, they got a pretty good chance of being successful this week.
Yeah, that was a building block win for sure. It's been coming together for Dan Bradley. You could see it week to week. I saw it in week 2 when they lost to Union 20-6. In the books, it goes down to 2-touchdown loss. However, that was a 1-score game until somewhere late in the third quarter, early fourth quarter. So Elwood City certainly is coming along as a program. Dan Bradley's got a lot of influence on that. Laurel was idle this week. How will that affect them moving forward, Larry?
I mean, it's good to have it's good to have an off week after 2 or 3 games. Laurel 320 yards rushing last week against Mohawk, and we knew Mohawk was going to struggle, not having the type of game reps that are necessary to prepare for and play a really quality team like Laurel. The one statistic at Mohawk, 15 penalties for 120 yards. Again, that's just about reps, not having game reps, not having practice reps. So, I don't think Laurel's too disappointed in having a week off. And again, they get a chance to watch the film, make adjustments, tighten up some things that need to be tightened up. But this Laurel football team's a good football team.
Mohawk is still getting up to speed. Last week was their first actual game. Do you kind of look at that last week, even though it was an actual game, was that to them a first game, what others would have had a first scrimmage? And this one is their second game. Would that be to them their second game, what others would have been playing the season opener? Is that where they're at?
Oh, certainly. Somebody said it, that the biggest advantage that you get is the between the first and second week. You get better. The biggest advancement of your team occurs between week 1 and week 2. And I'm sure Mohawk's watching the film, making adjustments. Again, without having game reps, without having practice time, without having the opportunity to look at film prior to playing a quality team like Mohawk or Laurel, Mohawk was at a disadvantage. And again, 15 penalties for 120 yards. That's just about not playing. And, and you're playing a really good team. So I expect that they'll be better this week than they were last week.
Neshannock maintained its momentum last week with a big 40-34 road win over Ambridge. I talked to Fred Mazzocco last week. He was anxious to see how his kids would stack up against an Ambridge team that was 2 classifications higher than Neshannock, and they did all right, more than all right, 40-34. That's 3-0 for the Lancers. Larry, do you concur that Neshannock is the class of the county, at least through 3 games, the best team in the county?
They're one of them. Laurel's a very good team. That went to double overtime, if I'm not mistaken. Neshannock rushed the ball for 372 yards against Ambridge. Johnny Huff, the quarterback, another fabulous game. He just was tremendous. I think he rushed for over 200 yards himself. So, couple touchdowns. Yeah, they're probably the best team in the county as we sit here today. And again, but Laurel's right behind them. That was a great game 2 weeks ago. 2 Tri-County League teams that went down to double overtime. So, but Neshannock has it rolling. They certainly do. Ran it for 372. That's impressive, my friend.
Yeah, we touched on it in Athlete of the Week with Shenango. They need to start off conference play strong. They're 0-3. However, this is where the money lies. They gotta start winning, because these games, they count toward season, whether you get in or not. And remember, last year, I don't think it takes too long before Jimmy Graham, when he talks to the kids before practice, during film, whatever. Hey, 16-6 last year at Union. Remember that. We had a chance to go in there and get ourselves a playoff spot. We walked off the field saying, "Are we in? Are we out? When do we know if we're in?" I'm sure he's going to have that team remembering that game first and foremost.
Well, the first thing they got to do is stop Union from running the football. Union ran it for 343 last week. So again, high school football teams that run the football and can run it for over 200 yards are normally successful. So I'm sure Jimmy's working on making sure they keep Braylon Thomas under control and to control the line of scrimmage. You can't let them run that ball right down your throat. And Union, Neshannock, Laurel, that's what they've been doing it. And that's what they've been doing and doing it well. You know, last week, Shenango gave up 248 rushing yards to Riverside. And as a result, Riverside won the game. So I'm sure that's what he's talking about this week.
Yeah. Union, they play Shenango. We just talked about Shenango.
Sure.
Union 2-1. Are they for real?
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. They lost to that Canton team. I mean, you know, you're playing a really high quality team. And again, when you can run the ball for 343, you're a really good football team. And if Union stays healthy, because we always know their numbers are a little bit light, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with moving forward. Should be a really good game this Saturday. Really good game. Two Tri-County teams, should be a great game.
Yeah, everybody go out and check that game out. That should be fireworks for sure at Shenango. Lastly, Wilmington, Larry, you know, we kind of were fretting after that Sharpsville loss, season opener, 23-0. Kind of worried a little bit. You know, they took all the way down to the last 13 seconds against Greenville to pull that one out. 50-8 last week against Mercer. Is everything back to normal? Is the stars aligned? Is the universe going in the right direction now with Wilmington? Can we say that?
Well, look, they for years have been the gold standard of football in Lawrence County. And, good teams get better with each passing game. You know, it's not how good you are in the first week of September. It's how good you are in the first week of November. They put up 50 points. Now, they only ran the ball for 173 yards, but I got a funny feeling that Coach Fillion called off the Dogs in that game and probably had his starters out of there at the end of the first half. You know, they had a 43-8 lead at the end of the half. So he probably played the reserves in the second half. So, yeah, Wilmington's the real deal. They always are. You know, they may not be as good as some of the teams they've had in past years, but you got to realize they went to 3 state championship games, and I think in the past 4 years. So, but they'll get better because as good coaching staffs and good teams get better with each passing game, I expect for them to do the same.
Yeah, this week they have Hickory on the road. It's a region matchup. However, the way it works in District 10 is it's kind of a mix. Wilmington is a 2A school. Hickory is a 3A school, so they're playing a little bit up in class. However, it is a region matchup. And Larry Farrell's on the horizon a little bit, not very far down the road. So you definitely want to get this one. They're 1-1 in region play right now, I believe. They've lost to Sharpsville, the win over Greenville. So you win this one, you're above 500 and you're doing well. Well,
they better not look past Hickory because that's a really good football program who's had great success in recent years. So I expect this will be a pretty good litmus test for where Wilmington really is. If they can take care of Hickory, then they're on the road to a pretty good season.
Yeah, and I think their JV team, from what I've seen on tours on Twitter, Wilmington's JV team, they're undefeated, I believe, winning games big. So that talent might be coming, you know. So that next wave of great athletes at Wilmington, you know, it just kind of revolves. You know, just the door kind of is a revolving door. They're going to come in there, they're going to do well, and they're going to go off to college. They're coming.
I mean, it's a culture. It's just a culture, you know. For example, Wilmington against Mercer had merely 4 penalties for 17 penalty yards. That's winning football. You know, you don't make the kind of mistakes that are just backbreakers. There is no defense to an offsides penalty, a pre-snap penalty. It makes coaches crazy. You don't turn the ball over. You know, good teams don't. Wilmington had 0 fumbles. They did have 1 pass intercepted, but you don't turn it over. You don't beat yourself with penalties. That's winning football. And then you run the football in high school, which I believe you still have to do. There are some exceptions to that rule, but I think those exceptions are few and far between. And it's just a mindset. And, you know, that's what you need to do. That's what you need to establish in your program. And I'm not a football coach, but let me tell you something. It's the analogy I would make in basketball. Don't turn it over. Don't commit silly fouls, right? The analogy that I would make in baseball, you know, don't make errors. don't make base running mistakes. It's those kind of things that change games in all sports. And all of them are big momentum things that, tend to oftentimes decide games, momentum swings. So there you go, my friend.
Very good, sir. Anything else on the county? That's where we stand.
No, I'm excited. It's starting to get, it's that time of year where the air gets a little bit crisp. The games, we're now in conference play, they get a little bit bigger. I think the teams are all taking on an identity. And now, the coaches know what they have. They know what they have to do. They know who their opponents are. They'll be prepared. I'm sure they're working late nights and watching film of their team and the other teams. And the time that is spent by a varsity coach it belies the amount of money that they get paid, because they don't do it for the money. These guys are all committed. They love their team. They love their players. They love the coach. And so I'm excited. Ronnie. Should be good.
All right. And an excited Larry Kelly is a dangerous Larry Kelly, everybody. So
you don't want to get me too excited, though. You understand? Don't get me too excited, because I might say I'll get an earring or something. I don't want to make that statement again.
Well, been there, done that. You gotta expand on it. You gotta go to another level.
No, that's about as far as I'm going.
How about a Mike Tyson tattoo, like over here?
No.
Or...
There's no chance of that happening. Zero chance.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, people do crazy things for a state baseball championship, Larry.
Yeah, I know they do. Joe Hardy, he sold his soul to the devil in Damn Yankees, if you remember the musical. Yeah,
I do. Okay, everybody, that was Larry Kelly. I'm Ron Poniewasz. We appreciate you joining us. Be sure to get out and root on your teams to the victory. You got 2 nights to do it this week. There's games Friday night. There's a game Saturday afternoon with Neshannock going to Western Beaver at 12:30, and then the big one around the county here in Lawrence County, Union at Shenango. That is at 7 p.m. Saturday. So 2 days of fun. Everybody get out and enjoy the football action. He's Larry Kelly. I'm Ron Poniewasz. We will see you right back here next week for more Gridiron.
As a veteran, I fought for our ideals. That we are a nation of laws, that the laws apply to everyone, and that no one is above the law. So if you've been hurt in an auto accident, I don't think you should be pushed around by some insurance company. Not on my watch. I'll work hard to protect your rights. I'm not afraid to go to trial, and I've never run from a fight. I'm Chuck Garbett, and I'm proud to serve the people of Lawrence County.